The research expands on previous editions to include more countries, covering 75% of Africa's population and 85% of its output. Assimilating country and industry data, the index measures economic connectedness for sub-Saharan economies. According to Dr. Adrian Seville from Gibbs, the evidence of the past 5 decades is that the pivotal factor for sustained, elevated and inclusive growth is the ability of countries to connect functionally and effectively to others.
The report looks at 19 sub-Saharan economies, and what it's in search of is the connectedness of these 19 economies to each other and to the world, in other words, regional and global connectedness. And there's probably 2 headlines that come out of it. The first is that from a global perspective, Sub-Saharan Africa remains the least connected region in the world. However, there's some good news in that for the 5 years that we've been measuring the index, the countries as a collective show rising connectedness to each other and to the world.
Sub-Saharan African economies rank among the least connected in the world. However, the evidence points to connections growing quickly and effectively, particularly in East Africa, although Cameroon, Ghana and Zambia also stand out.
What we measure is more than just trade. We measure connectedness using 4 pillars, which is the movement of goods and services, trade, as you point out. We also measure the movement of capital flows, so portfolio investment and direct investment moving across borders, and then the movement of people and information, knowledge, data. So using those 4 pillars, trade, capital, information and people, we get a more comprehensive and a more robust measure of the nature and the extent of connectedness.
South Africa's private sector has footprint in some of the East African countries with bilateral agreements. This demonstrates progressive structural improvements towards higher levels of integration with their respective regions and the world. Colin Limau, SABC News, Johannesburg.